common for people dealing with mental health issues to isolate themselves?
I think it is common. I don't think we can have a universal response to maybe how everyone behaves if they have depression or anxiety or maybe post-traumatic stress disorder, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the antidotes for people that are struggling with mental health issues is to actually seek out social support. And so there's, again, a lot of research and evidence that suggests that when people are feeling supported by a social network, they're engaging with family, friends somehow in a social way, that those are protective factors for mental health conditions. But the trick is, if people already experience depression or anxiety or other schizophrenia, even other things, those people may feel less inclined to be around others because sometimes it's really hard to actually take action or to change a behavior to get us into a place where we might start to feel better.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty common enough where people can do some things where they avoid social situations because they just don't feel good. And if people are going to be asking them how they're feeling, sometimes people don't want to subject others to sort of what is truly going on for them. So yeah, it definitely does happen, but ironically, it's the very thing, being more social, is one of the things that's going to make us feel better.
Interesting. If somebody wants to confide their mental health concerns to you as a friend or family member, what are some things you should keep in mind as a listener?
It's a really good question. And it's funny, the Active Minds organization that I was talking about on college campuses, they've tried to kind of come up with a plan or a general approach to people that are disclosing some sort of maybe mental health challenges. And they sort of keep these three words in mind, which is validate, appreciation, and refer. So validating someone is basically, if someone's confessing or confiding in you, having a particular experience, and maybe that's a painful one, there's a tendency for us to want to gloss over it or maybe dismiss it or maybe immediately try to make them feel better and say, oh no, it's not that bad, man, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
There's a lot to suggest that maybe isn't helpful in the moment. So if someone's actually confiding that they're having a hard time, it's best to really just be really validating to that person in that moment and say, oh, I'm hearing what you're saying. It sounds like you are having a hard time, and I can imagine, based on all the things you just talked about, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So validating someone's experience is really helpful. And then the next word is a sort of appreciate or appreciation. And so really what that gets at is like actually thanking someone for being really truthful and being authentic with you. So that, because it does maybe take some bravery or some courage to maybe just be a little more honest, or to maybe be more authentic if we're not feeling great. It's really easy to talk about feeling great with others, but sometimes it's not as easy if we're not. So sort of appreciating people taking the risk and being authentic. And then refer is really trying to actually maybe refer, like making a referral, and maybe that would mean, hey, you know what, I think maybe it'd be a good idea to talk to a counselor. Maybe it'd be a good idea to talk to your doctor. Or maybe it isn't necessarily that serious, but maybe you have a great idea that would be, hey, there's this really great concert tonight, my friends and I are going, do you want to come with us? So the idea of referring is like, what is there something you can actually suggest to the person that might be helpful in that moment or long term?
How do you deal with patients that are reluctant to express their feelings with you?
Yeah. So patients, we also refer to them as clients. Sometimes for counselors, because we're not like doctors, we see them as not patients but clients.
Right.
But it's funny when you use the word patients, it makes me think of actually having patience to actually work with the person and just taking our time, letting them take their time to get to a point where they feel a sense of safety and comfort, and maybe starting to disclose more sort of personal, intimate feelings. For some people, it's really easy to do at a first session with a counselor. They may feel really ready to talk about it and go and have a lot to say. Other people, they may not say as much, and that's okay. I take like a long view or a long sort of term approach that if
Right.
someone's just starting this process, that it's like a skill and that it just needs time to cultivate, and that it really is okay. I mean, I think it can be awkward if we're sitting in silence for several minutes, but it's totally fine, and that's something that person may need, and I think we got to be careful not to sort of rush the process, and that people sort of develop and maybe have different needs, and just allow it to unfold on their own time.
Yeah. So it's more like taking small steps instead of this like big epiphany moments
That's exactly
that you
right.
see on TV all the time.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Because those epiphany moments, maybe they can happen early on in a someone engaging in a period of counseling or psychotherapy,
Mhm.
but oftentimes it takes time. It takes weeks, months, maybe even years for some people. We like to think, and the research does show that progress is happening steadily all along, but maybe those like big aha moments, those aren't something that happen every session. No.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as we want it to.
As much as we want to, as much as TV tells us it happens, it doesn't quite happen that way.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.